talked all week, and this stands for Shamrock Advantage. We want to try to give you an advantage in any way that we can, from the mental side of the game specifically. We think we have, obviously, Coach Henson down there, awesome, with the strength coach. I mean, there's not going to be anything better for you there. We know the trainers are just absolutely phenomenal. We're honored to be here this week, so you're not going to get anything better. But we want to make sure that we're still training you from the mental side of the game, where we can give you any advantage possible. Tomorrow, just to give you a little insight, you'll have some choice. There'll be 3 different breakout sessions for you. Those of you that lack confidence, that might be a good one. Some of you that are really trying to build in your teammates and create a winning culture, we'll have one for you there. And then kind of plus one mentality for those of you that are looking to gain an advantage. You'll get choice in that matter. Wednesday, really special guest. We kind of reworked the schedule for us, but the IU head baseball coach is going to be here. Jeff Mercer, phenomenal, talking about the process and what it takes. Thursday, Coach Bryant, I saw him in here. He's in attendance. He's in the back there. Outstanding coach with golf. There's been so many different championship environments here in the last couple of years. Talking about what it really means to be a championship competitor. And then Friday, Luther Thurman's going to come in. She's been in the Olympics, I think, 4 times. She's currently in charge of all USA track and field creating the teams. So, I mean, just in terms of who we're getting this week, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal lineup. We would ask that you try to give your best attention for about 15, 20 minutes. Then you'll be done, ready to go for your events. If you want to jot things down, you can, but the hope is you at least take 2 to 3 things with you before you go. So I'm going to turn it over to Coach Locktell to introduce our speaker today.
Today our speaker is Coach Peters from our boys tennis program. He's been the head coach here for 3 years. He's been at Westfield about 6 years, and he's been coaching tennis for about 14 previously. He was in the northwest suburbs of Chicago, coaching up there. If you haven't noticed, our boys tennis team has improved dramatically over the last few years. It's one of the things we talked about as we were thinking of speakers. There's obviously something going on in that program, and so we asked Coach Peters to come in and talk to you about what that is. One of the things in getting a tennis coach and a golf coach in here this year is we are looking for people in sports where attention and focus is sustained over a very long period of time. And tennis and golf both require that very intense mental focus over long periods of time. So we figured they would be really good people to talk to us about that focus and what it takes to be successful in those sports which require terrific mental preparation. And so I'm going to stop taking up his time. Coach Peters.
Hello, can you hear me? Thanks so much for coming. I'm excited to do this. I think that hopefully as we kind of go through this, I'm going to talk about specific sports, but hopefully you can kind of look at all of this stuff through the sport you play and how it would be applicable to your particular sport. So I wanted you guys to kind of do a little bit of talking amongst each other real quickly. We can go to the next slide. So I want you to think we've all been part of, or maybe we've witnessed a comeback victory we've had. And we've also probably all been on the other side of that as well. So for probably about 1 minute, let's turn to somebody around you and talk about a specific event that maybe you were a part of, or maybe that you witnessed, maybe your team was a part of, and think about what that comeback was like, or maybe think also about what that comeback loss for your team was like. So let's talk for about 60 seconds. Go. conversation. I can hear you guys had some good stories probably to tell. In all of those situations we just talked about, there was a transition. Something occurred where the momentum shifted from one team to the other, from one player to the other. So what we want to do is try to figure out ourselves what we can do both physically and mentally to, when that opportunity is there for us, how we can take control of the match, take control of the game, and ultimately get more wins. So that's kind of what we're thinking about today as we go through all of this. So we can do the next slide. So I think one of the things that's important here is think about the different kind of sports, because I want all of you guys to look at it through the lens of your sport. That's how you can get the most out of, I think the talk. So first of all, there's the sports that have a clock. Basketball, soccer, football. There's a final end to the sport. So you got to kind of think about how you can put yourself in a position to be successful with the clock in mind. Sports like baseball, softball, and tennis, it's never really over until the very final out, the last point. In baseball, you can be down 5-0 in 2 outs, put a big rally together, and bring it back for your team. Same thing in tennis. You could be down 6-0, 5-0, and all of a sudden you get turned around and come back and get that match. And then there's sports like wrestling, golf, track, cross country that might not fit in any of the categories above. The interesting thing I think about wrestling is you could be down 14-0, and all of a sudden hit the guy and win the match. So within the reason why I kind of want to bring this up is I think it's important to think about all of these situations through your sport. So to set up my first example here, in 2006, the Indianapolis Colts were 14-2 in the regular season. It was Peyton Manning at his prime, everything was terrific, and the team was clicking on all cylinders, and they got to the AFC Championship game against the New England Patriots. So let's go ahead and start the video, and we're going to talk a little bit about this situation.
Patriots, Colts, the AFC Championship, 3rd and inches. It's Maroney fumbling. Ball still loose. And the Colts in the scrum. No, the ball's in the end zone. And the Patriots have recovered for a touchdown. Logan Mankins, 42 yards. Snip on the hole. And then Terry dangerously close, but good. It's Dillon going in with ease. Touchdown, New England. And his pass is intercepted. It's a Sunday Samuel. Going in untouched. Samuel, he sees the play. He diagnoses what Peyton Manning's going to do, and he just reacts to the football. He wins out.
So in that video, I remember watching the game. I was excited for the Colts. Thought the Colts were going to the Super Bowl that year, and they started off and just kind of it was bad from the beginning. The other team fumbled, the Patriots fumbled the ball. It falls in the end zone, and their guy falls on it. And it was kind of that whole first half was like that. The Colts were down 21-3 really quickly. And the part I wanted to talk about here is after the game, they talked to Peyton Manning, and they said, "What were some things you were thinking about? Were you nervous? Were you nervous for the match or for the game because your team got down?" And his reaction, his response, I thought was great. He said, "No, I was never nervous. I was never worried at all. I believed in our preparation. I believed what our coaches were talking, the stuff we had done to prepare for this. I knew it was the right stuff. So I knew it was only a matter of execution, and I knew we would come out and eventually do that." And he said, "The one thing that we want to make sure," he said, I know my guys are going to be coachable at halftime. I know we're going to figure things out. We've been prepared the right way to that point. We just didn't execute in the first half, and I knew we'd eventually execute." The Colts came back and won it, and it was pretty much exactly like he had said. So I think one of the questions I asked to each of you guys, we're always going to have in the beginning of games, beginning of different contests, it always seems like sometimes a team will come out and take advantage right at the beginning. We can't abandon what we have done to get to that moment. Believe in what you've done. Believe in your off-season work. Believe in the work you've done with your teams. If you're a baseball player, know that you've hit tons of baseballs in the batting cage, and you're going to have your time to come back. If you're a tennis player, know that you've hit on ball machines, and you're going to have your time to come back. You need to believe in your preparation, the time you spent with your teammates in the weight room, and that's what you kind of need to focus on to help get yourself back. I think the thing to also think about is how coachable are you going to be in that moment? There's certainly times where I've gone up to talk to my kids where they might got off to a slow start, and in my head I'm kind of I'm trying to do everything I can to get that turned around, but I tell they're mentally not where they need to be. And there's not really much I can say. So I question and challenge all of you guys, will you be coachable in that moment? In that moment when you didn't start off like you want, but there's still plenty more your contest to go, how coachable are you going to be? So I think that's a big thing. The next one is a scene with Jordan Spieth. And Jordan Spieth's in the 2007 British Open. And he started off and had a really great first 3 rounds. He was up 3 strokes going into the final round. And then hit a bad shot on one, did a couple things, and before he knew it, he said he was down in the tournament. He thought he was in complete control. So let's go ahead and start this. And I apologize about the video here. There was some video issues today, and this one was had to take. I had to watch it on my computer and tape it from my iPhone. So it's a little shaky. Okay.
Despite his misadventures, the American remained remarkably measured.
So this is where his shot is on number 13.
On the prize.
I lost the lead on number 9, and when I stood on 10 feet, I felt as calm as I'd been. Almost like it wasn't in my hands anymore. Now I can go after the person in the lead, which is weird, because I just lost the lead. You're thinking, man, what just happened? But I was all thinking forward from there on. And the same thing happened after 13. I felt like not only did I save myself a shot, I'm only 1 back with 5 holes to go. I'm playing golf. 2 reachable par 5s, 2 tough par 4s. I felt like anything could happen and I would be able to make up that stroke.
A remarkable sequence followed. With birdie, eagle, birdie, Spieth overhauled a shell-shocked Kuchar to claim his maiden Open Championship.
It was the best golf I played in a stretch like that ever. Those 5 holes were, it didn't look like the rest of the day. I mean, it just out of nowhere, that comfort level, I settled in and hit 1 shot, 1-6 iron there in 14. And all of a sudden and I made the putt there, and I felt like, man, I'm right back to where we were the first 3 days of this week. It just took 1 shot. But it sits up there as, as impressive as any victory I've ever had, for sure.
The carrot jug almost slipped through his fingers, but Jordan Spieth's remarkable comeback clinched a stunning win.
The thing I liked about that video is he said at one point, I knew it was just 1 shot. 1 shot could get everything turned around for me and get me playing back to how I was earlier in the round. And so I think one of the things when we find ourselves in a position where we're down, what can we do to get ourselves back? And we've got to take victories in the small things. And I'll kind of go through it. I was like, okay, what's that look like in basketball? And in basketball, that might look like out of the next 5 possessions, let's get 3 stops. In golf, maybe we're going to, to pick up a stroke every 2 holes, and make it the small things to help us get ourselves back into position. In football, maybe it's okay. Next possession, let's see if we can get 2 first downs. Let's see if we can get things going, because that one little thing could get things turned around, moving in the right direction, and completely change the turn of events and the rest of the match. I thought in swimming, how beat the person in the next 25 meters. In tennis, hold serve, or whatever the victories are, the small victories. Take that, build off of it. When you're in a position where you're like, oh my gosh, nothing seems to go right. Let's see if we get one thing to go right, and then build off of that. And that's kind of what I thought Jordan Spieth talked about quite a bit in that video. And I thought it was really cool. He's like, number 13, I'm on a hill. There's 2 hills in front of me, and I know if I can put that 1 shot close, pick up a stroke there, I know I'm right back in this tournament. And so that was one little small victory that he was able to build, and ended up finishing. I think he said he had 3 birdies and 2 eagles on the last 5, which is pretty incredible. So, the next video. The next video is Novak Djokovic and Roger Federer, and I think it's the what year is that? I'm not exactly sure what year it was, but Djokovic was down. He lost the first 2 sets, won the next 2, and he's down 5-3. So for those who don't know about tennis, you have to win 6 games to win the match, win the set. And so he's down quite a bit. We can go ahead and play this video and the beginning parts of the board. I couldn't get it to fast forward through here. So if you look at it, he's down 3-5 with 15 all. And he ends up dumping the ball wide here, I think, on his second serve. And then the next one, I think he dumps it in the bottom of the net.
Joker throws away the hat. And he's got to anticipate something here, Al. If he does it, he's going to get ace.
So pause it here for 1 second. So at this point, afterwards, the interview he had, he said, you know, I'm down 40-15. The other guy's got 2 match points. There's nothing I can do but just leave it all out there. And I'm just going to go for it. And sometimes when we find ourselves in a position, we just need to go for it. And just let it all out on whatever that next point is. And so if you watch here, you can kind of see him make a face right before Federer serves. He kind of does it twice. And as he does this, right there he goes one.
Roger Federer.
And he does it again here in a second. He's like, all right, we got this.
Double match point.
And watch this return. Tennis players out there, you gotta appreciate it.
I hear about matches like this.
So he rips it, lands it in,
That was good.
gets the crowd fired up.
That was good.
He's back, he wins the match. Okay? So that one thing, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna leave it out there, I'm just gonna go for it on this one opportunity and see what happens. He really had nothing else to lose. So go ahead, stop the video. So sometimes when we find ourselves in positions that we're down, we gotta just go for it. And maybe that's playing a little bit outside your comfort zone. In all sports, that kind of means a different thing. But you know, in the sport of tennis, maybe you kind of change your game plan. Maybe you know, if you're a guy who likes to hit a powerful game, maybe you make the person hit a couple more shots. So changing that kind of game plan at some point. I think with the one thing of knowing you've got to get back to what got you there, but going for it a little bit more, getting outside your comfort zone might be what kind of changes that momentum and helps you eventually get yourself back in the match. And I think when you look at that the video where he's kind of like, you know what, I'm down, I might as well just go for it and see what happens. Gets the crowd on the side, ends up coming back. So I think that was a pretty cool video for that one. Let's go to the next one. Hang on, so this might be before some of your guys' time. This is the Pacers and the Knicks used to have some pretty great series, and I think that it was back when Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing were big time players, and the Pacers were down 6 points with like 18 seconds to play. So they're down 6 points. Pretty much Knicks are in control.
Senior 60 fouls ball. Actually, that is shorter record for both teams.
So now we have our worst inbounder, Andy Davis, take it out.
Greg Anthony wide open. I pulled to him. He slipped. And I kind of see his foot stumble just a little bit as he's taking the ball out.
Reggie, that's still shows Greg Anthony.
It is the best chance he has on either team. In the heat of the moment, Sam Mitchell fouls John Starks.
I was kind of like shocked that this whole thing happened. At that time, I'm walking to the free throw line. I'm thinking like, man, did this dude just did it?
We watched John's eyes, and there wasn't no false instructions. There's no way he's going to miss the second free throw. There's absolutely no way. Starks misses the foul shot. Ewing misses the putback. There is a time to play, and there's a time to win. What do you do in winning time? That differentiates between just a regular player and a superstar.
Reggie Miller
So Reggie Miller scored 8 points in 8 seconds. And so I guess the thing to think about there is how quickly things can change in sports. When we look at that video, you never know when the opportunity is going to be there, but are you going to be ready? Are you going to be mentally focused enough to be ready? When we look at the way people change sometimes when they're playing, when you get a lead in a sport, all of a sudden, sometimes people try to play a different game and try to change some things. I remember I had a basketball coach in 8th grade, and it seemed like every time we get up 12 points or something like that, the coach would want to do 4 corners where we kind of spread out the floor and kind of stall a little bit. And within probably 3 minutes, we were down by 4 points every year. And then what happened is we tried to make changes to what we were doing and what was successful. We always hear about in football prevent defense, and all of a sudden the cornerbacks start playing deeper on the receivers. The receivers are more open and can kind of get some things going. And so I think when you're on that other side of that, and you're down, and the other team's making changes, that can be what changes and gets you back in the match or in the game. So things can happen quickly in sports, and you got to be ready and be ready to take control. The one thing that did not show in that video, because I had to change the video clips because the other clip was pretty bad. Do you guys remember what Reggie Miller did afterwards? What was it? He did the choking thing. He did the choking thing to John Starks. And that always bothered me. That was not the kind of thing that I hoped to preach or to see or anything like that. One of my favorite football players was Marvin Harrison. Does anybody see Marvin Harrison score a touchdown? He usually just flips the ball to the referee and runs back. And he always acts like he's been there before. It's what his job is. And you see guys like Reggie Miller doing the choke sign and stuff like that. I thought that was going to end up being on the end of the clip. But I certainly would much rather see my team, my school, act like they've been there before. What is your job? Your job is to score touchdowns with the receiver. Your job is to win tennis matches. And just acting like you've been there, you've done this is what my job is, much more than what Reggie Miller did in that clip, because I thought that was going to be there as well. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. The last one is this big Chicago Cubs fan. Chicago Cubs were up against the Florida Marlins, and gosh, great team. Love that team. Mark Pryor, Kerry Wood, such a good team. 2 outs, one out. I remember I was with my friend, and he said, "Oh my gosh, 5 more outs." And sure enough, it was 5 more outs at that moment. And I guess this the opportunity in this one is you never really know what's going to happen in sports. So go ahead and play the clip, please. I often say to my guys, it's an awesome opportunity to compete. We get the opportunity to compete when we play our sports, and as you guys get older, you don't get that opportunity as much. So embrace that opportunity to compete, enjoy it. I hear sometimes when people are like, oh, we're playing this team and they're ranked this, or they've got this running back who's going to this college. Whatever. It's bottom line is we get an opportunity to compete, embrace it, enjoy it, and know that you can do anything, especially if we stay focused throughout. The one last story I wanted to kind of wrap up with is, it was kind of interesting. So I was talking, my job was to kind of talk about competing and being able to make comebacks and things like that. I almost felt like I got an email today because I put the videos together and things like that, and they said, oh, by the way, the internet doesn't work in the auditorium. And so at this point, I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I felt like fourth period was my prep, and I'm running around trying to get to the different things. So I felt like I had to play under pressure. So I kind of feel what you guys are feeling like when you're playing under pressure, and hopefully it worked out pretty well. So if you, I guess that's all I got. So, thank you.
Thank you, Coach Peters. Let's give him one more round of applause. So just as a preview, or I guess in actuality, what's going on this week, just to highlight some things coming up. So we're back here tomorrow, and tomorrow we actually have 3 speakers, and we'll have 3 breakout sessions. You'll be able to choose which one you go to. And tomorrow we're going to have one on developing culture. We're going to have one on creating confidence, and one called +1 mentality. So again, great job, Coach Peters, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.